All right, wonderful. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another impactful episode of Stories That Impact number 23. Today, I welcome a very special guest, Priya Patra. Hi, Priya.
Hi, Amit. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you. Believe me, the pleasure is all mine. And I'll tell you why soon for all the viewers that are watching me. You know, purpose or knowing the why is fundamental for every humans and organizations. That's one reason why some people excel in their roles and organizations flourish. My today's guest is a well-known person in project management and agile world. Priya Patra, a mother of two, author, blogger, woman empower believer, dreamer, creator, and a futurist, an agile evangelist and a program manager spearheading digital transformation, digital quality assurance, and quality engineering program for a large company in life science domain. She is a speaker for national and international conferences on IoT, agile, and project management. Since January 2020, she has been building a women's community, Women PowerUp Network, a virtual community of more than 450 women worldwide. She is also a faculty member of the PM Circle, a unique community of project leaders, agilists, coaches, and consultants, a circle of competence, knowledge, and unique global perspectives. Didn't I tell you you will be blown away with my today's guest? That's amazing. Before I give it to Priya, let me share. Today, she shares her childhood story where she had tried many things but excelled in none, and how it took her 13 years to understand what's in it for her. She realized that there is no passion without purpose, and without passion, there is no success. Amazing. That's like a tagline or a punchline, Priya. Amazing.
Thank you.
And I'm
Thank you.
so honored once again to have you on my show. Uh, Please let's start off with your story.
Sure, Amit. And I am so privileged today to be on your show and narrate my story to everyone. And just to let you know, I have never been an excellent, never had excellence in anything that I did in my life. I was always a good enough person, just good enough, just scraped through, through my school days year after year. And I was expert in nothing, actually, I would say. And I was a dark sheep in a middle class family where all of my cousins were either doctors or work in progress doctors. So there was a lot of comparison that is to happen. It is natural, nothing wrong about it. And even as a I was that sister who always wanted to be at the background, always invisible, uncomfortable, even in coming in photographs or attending social functions. And I tried many things, like my parents of course tried many things with me. They put me in drawing classes, singing classes, and Rabindra Sangeet is something that we all Bengali girls are supposed to know. I joined those classes. I did swimming. I think drawing I did a little better than the others, but the rest everything was like just okay. Excelled in nothing. And obviously that way, that made me very low in confidence. And I always thought, yeah, I'm just just one human being on this earth who's not good enough. And above all, I never had any purpose in life. I tried many things and excelled in none. I kind of gave up hope, and it took me 13 years. Imagine. I remember, Amit, you said that it took you some years to understand what is your passion, right? In one workshop that I attended. And for me it was 13 years to understand why I am on this planet and what is in it for me. I just realized that yes, being good enough can also be amazing. You don't have to be an expert in everything. So that was the background of my childhood, how I was. Even in school, right, I never answered any questions, even if I knew the answer to those questions the teacher asked. I was always happy
Wow.
to be in the backbench. So that was a situation. And yeah, you
And no, yeah, I was just going to ask that. I can relate a bit. Let me ask you this because, and the reason is, like I said, I can relate a bit, and I want to know, apart from how you felt, how did your parents and your siblings felt when you were, like always at the backside, or a shy sort of
yeah.
a person, or maybe not interested in doing something. So what was there a lot of pressure from them and from your friends? How did your friends manage?
Yeah, friends, I think were okay. They were with me. They supported me because I probably, spoke up in front of my friends, right? But obviously, my parents wanted me to excel, right? And they would. I remember if there was a small gathering in the house, they would tell me to sing a song because I was going through those music classes. But then I never wanted to do it because I was not interested. So, truthfully, right now I realize that probably that was a blunder. I should have taken those opportunities and moved forward. So I always felt, yeah, not interested anyways, I'm not good, so why should I try, maybe like that. Friends
Yeah.
were okay, but parents were not quite happy, I would say.
Wow. And fast forward, at least I know the Priya Patra as today. A person who has been into so many conferences across the world. And that's one of the reasons I made sure that I have your images pasted as well. Share how that change happened. I mean, this is like phenomenal, 360-degree, I believe.
So even I didn't think that I could speak in front of so many people, right? But as I said, it took me 13 years to understand, get interest in life, I would say, interest in myself. I just thought I'm okay. I should take every day at a time, move forward with what is coming my way. I never had any aim in life. But then something really happened. And this is a story I told in my uh, uh, Toastmasters icebreaker speech that you gave, the first speech that you gave in Toastmasters, right? And this is how I introduced myself, and a story that changed my entire life. And yes, it is a story that impacted my life. And I will
Wow.
tell you, I was like 13 years old, and this was summer vacation, and we were 2 weeks into summer vacation. And I had exhausted all the storybooks and comics that were there at home. And this is afternoon, obviously it's very boring. I was not allowed to go out and play with my friends because it's too hot outside. And I had to do something at home. And as my mom took a nap, and I wondered, what can I do now? And sleeping was never on my agenda. I wanted to make most of my summer vacation. And how can I forego those couple of hours of fun by taking a nap? No way, I thought. So, and the only person who was awake at that point of time in the afternoon was my grandma. And I went to her room, and there she was reading a book. And I called out, Amma. And we used to call her grandma Amma. And the thing that came to my mind is, Amma, tell me a story. I'm so bored. And again, a story, right? And my grandma just looked up, kept her spectacles aside, closed the book she was reading, and narrated an anecdote. And an anecdote that changed my life forever. And this is what followed next. And this is a story of my cousin, and his name is Debu, and we used to call him Debuda. And it started like this way: Son, the choice is all yours. My uncle said to my cousin Debuda. And Debuda pondered over the choice. And he and my uncle was walking down the paddy fields in a small town in the state of Bengal. And it was a hot summer afternoon in the month of May. The temperature was soaring very high, like around 40 degrees Celsius. My uncle, who was a deputy magistrate, was very well placed in that town. But he used to walk my cousin every day to school because he believed in humble beginnings. And as they waded through the paddy fields in the scorching heat, both profusely sweating, and Debuda, a 10-year-old guy at that point of time, he took out his water bottle to take a sip, hoping to cool himself down a little. And while he was sipping water, he noticed a very strange sight. Debuda saw two men, one well dressed, another not so well dressed. And and the person who was not so well dressed was holding an umbrella on the head of the person who was very well dressed and protecting that person from the scorching heat. And Debuda was surprised. Why is this man not holding the umbrella on his own head and why on the other person's head? And he thought and thought and thought, and he could find no reason why this could happen. And then that's the time he decided to ask my uncle. He said, Dad, why is this man holding the umbrella on the other man's head and not, shading himself or protecting himself from the sun? And my uncle said, Son, the man under the umbrella is an educated man. And he owns all these fields that you see here. He's rich and wealthy. And the other man who is not so educated is kind of a poor person, and because he never studied. And the only livelihood that he could afford is being a servant to this rich man. And son, the choice is yours now. Whether you want to be the man under the umbrella or do you want to be the man holding the umbrella. And
Wow.
so the choice is yours. So that's something that kind of struck me as well when my grandma was saying this. And my cousin Debuta remembered the story of these two men and an umbrella. And this is a very true story. And he became a topper in the West Bengal board. He went to a reputed medical college, and he's a well known surgeon. And he's a COVID hero as well. And today he does not hold the umbrella for anyone else, but only for himself and his family. And that kind of impacted me. Do I want to be the person who is holding an umbrella for others? Oh, no way! I thought so. So that is something that became the purpose story, the purpose of my life, right? And I thought, way no way, I don't want to be someone who is like being servant to someone and holding an umbrella for other person. I want to do something for myself and my, of course there was no family at that point of time, but for myself. And I think that became the guiding light of my life's decisions. It started influencing my behavior, and I was in the eighth standard, I think, at that point of time, and suddenly there was a turnaround. I started feeling very very interested in my studies, and I used to spend a lot of time just studying, and ultimately I was like the topper in the class. And that's how everything turned around, and I was totally engrossed in my studies just to make myself not the person who is holding the umbrella. And in both private and professional lives, I do realize that purpose is the passion. And without the passion, there is no success. So,
True. True. Awesome. A story can change a life,
of
and
course, yeah.
that's amazing, really, really nice. And few things I would just like to take up points here, that two things. Of course, the story was amazing. It had a purpose. It had what I always say, a saying at the end, or a decision, right? A
Correct.
meaning. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
a meaning at the end. More importantly, the way you narrated it, the paddy fields, and the sweat, the water, I could sense it. You actually made sure to invoke many senses in my mind. And that is, ladies and gentlemen, people who are listening now and who will be watching later, if you find Priya Patra giving a speech, or if you find her video on LinkedIn, watch it. because that is one of the key aspects that she has, is the way she narrates, articulates in such a way that it's just not a boring presentation or a boring project management or agile, whatever she's saying. It makes it fun. So just I'm sorry, Priya, I took it off track. I had to say this because you narrated it very, very well. And
Yeah.
it
So
really creates a lot of impact.
sure, and that's the impact of Toastmasters. They, kind of guide you, and how to narrate the content that and make it more impactful. And of course, stories do have a lot of impact. And I truly believe that storytelling can kind of make everything stick to you. So that's what I try to do now, and I try to find purpose and try to narrate my experiences in form of anecdotes or narratives. So at least people, those who come out of my presentation, they remember what I have spoken, because it is in the form of a story, and stories do stick.
Absolutely, absolutely. So now share, I mean, while your journey of the purpose, so now you got it, you understood that you want to be the person holding your own umbrella, and making sure that your family is taken care as well. What all happened during the journey, like from that 8th standard, if you don't mind, how things moved ahead? Did you had any breakdown moments or moments wherein you're like, oh my god, I'm in the swamp now, I can't take it further?
Sure. So as I said, eighth standard, I was totally into my studies, and I, started topping in class and all. And I studied very, very hard for even for the board exams. But unfortunately, I did not get a very high score as I was expecting to be, and that probably because I put in lot of stress and lot of hard work in my studies. And at the end, I was like burnt out, and I just wanted the exam to be over. And in that situation, I didn't do quite well in the board. And that's one of my advice to everyone. Take everything one step at a time. Don't even get too much engrossed in something that you are stressed out and you don't get the result you are expecting. So that was a kind of a, I will say, a back step that happened in my life. But again, I took it at a stride, and I thought, okay, let me take this as a failure as a stepping stone to the next level of my life. And fortunately, after that, everything started falling in place, and things are okay. I won't say I was successful all the time, but whenever I didn't get what I wanted, I thought maybe it's a learning, it's an experience, and that's how I took it.
I was on mute. Sorry. Another thing is, I want to ask you two questions, and one is a little personal. I hope you don't mind. I just want to know, how do you groom your children? I believe you have one daughter. Am I right?
I have a daughter and a son as well,
Oh,
and
okay.
and they are my first audience of anything that I prepare. Okay,
Okay.
so yeah, it's like if I am preparing a presentation to be presented in a conference, I will first practice in front of them, and they are my most biggest critic. They will say, oh mama, this is too boring, this will not work, I lost everything what you said. And I truly believe that if a naive or a person, a layman cannot understand, then no one will understand. So my first thing is to kind of pull them and sit here and listen to what I'm saying. And I think that creates a little impact on them. My daughter, she knows about innovation. She knows she knows about agile because she's hearing all these things, and I try to make it in a layman sense so that she realizes, she understands what it is. So I think that's is a most practical way to groom children. They should be interested, and many a times they don't want to hear my podcast, or it's too boring. So I know that probably no one is hearing if my children are not hearing. So I need to make some course correction. It's a two-way learning, I feel.
Absolutely, and that's a really good idea. I think I'll just wait for a year or two for my son to grow up a bit, and then yeah, he's gonna be one of my audience. That's fantastic. The other question was that how do you manage? I know your team sizes are huge, huge. How do you manage your teams? Within the region and across as well. I mean, especially when there are conflicts, especially during these COVID times. When they're down.
Yeah. True, true. So I presented in a conference the lockdown diaries of a project manager. So what did I learn during the lockdown period? And now it is quite stable, so it's not a problem now. But at that point of time, we were not used to working from home. I didn't like people working from home. I always wanted to be with me. In fact, I will tell you, I was such a project manager that I wanted everyone to be in Mumbai sitting next to me in the same cubicle, because I believed face to face communication is the best way to communicate. And I would try very hard to take people only in Mumbai. And if I would get a good resource who is, or a good team member, not resource, sorry, good team member in Chennai, I would think twice, right? And come COVID, all my this inhibitions were shattered because people who were sitting next to me were also remote. So how did we manage it, right? So initially it was very tough because it was a big change in lifestyle of everyone, the way of working of everyone. And we used to we used to think, is it being effective what we are doing, or we will be able to deliver what we have promised? uh, we One thing that we did was sit and chalk out a team working agreement. And that I think because a team was involved in it, we will meet every day at 11 o'clock sharp. No one is going to turn up late. Because I've seen, 11 o'clock till 5, 11:10, people are not turning up. And that happens in face to face scenario as well. And this is what we decided: 11 o'clock means 11 o'clock. We have to finish this call by 20 minutes. And there should be some outcome from this meeting. It cannot be a meeting getting dragged away along again and again and again. So these some working agreements that we chalked out. And even we have seen now people even take 1 hour break in the afternoon. That's also fine, because now we started to know, yeah, that we will make it happen because we are following those rules which are set by the team. And I think that is one of the biggest thing that I learned, that team working agreements really makes a difference.
True, true. That is true. I think you're absolutely right. I would love to have the team with me as well, because it's nice, right? Because you're there,
Yeah,
right? It helps. But I really like this concept of the wordings of team working agreement, because at least now you have buy-in from everyone. Everyone has made this whole thing together, and work it through. Wow, amazing, amazing. Probably my second last question now. Uh, After finding your purpose and your passion now, if someone wants to connect with you and seek help to find their purpose, you know
sure.
what's exactly how you'll help them, and what's the advice you'd give?
Yeah. So one thing I know, right? There, everyone has some silver lining. Okay, so that's why we say being good enough is amazing, right? And that woman network that I have built up, right there, I tell everyone, take some time out for yourself and find what interests you. Find, it could be just spending some time for yourself late night, that is also fine. But find out what actually interests you. It could be stitching, it could be drawing, it could be anything. That is your passion, because that is what you like to do. And most of the time thinking about women, and of course men also nowadays, they are so busy with family work, this and no one thinks about their own feeling or liking or their own desires. So I think it's time that we take a step back and have some me time. Understand, what do I like to do? I like to speak in front of people, and that's why whatever happens, I will find some time and I will make it happen, right? And if I don't like to do this, I will never find time. Like, I hate to go to the gym. I will never find time to go to the gym because I will have some excuse or the other. So it is important that we find out what actually you like and work towards it. I think that makes the difference. And if you like something, you will find the way to achieve it.
Absolutely. No, I liked when you said that people are so busy with, family and work and all the other things that they don't. Sometimes it's like, oh, family. Sometimes people get into work so much they forget the family. Sometimes they get into family, they forget, but they'll always forget themselves.
Yes.
That's true. No,
Find
wonderful.
time for yourself. Find time for yourself. Be it be half an
Absolutely.
hour every day. Yeah, I think that is the secret.
Absolutely, absolutely. And always remember the story of the umbrella, whether you want to
True.
hold it for someone or you want to be under it with your family.
Yeah.
Fantastic. All
And
right, so we're sorry.
yeah, so I just wanted to add, I have narrated the story in one conference as to why storytelling can improve the success rate of any change or digital transformation program. And I always ask the audience to pause and think, what is your umbrella story? Right? What is your purpose story? So I think people please should pause and think at least 30 minutes and think, what is my umbrella story?
Absolutely, absolutely. What is your umbrella? That could also be the title of our show.
Yeah.
What's your umbrella story? No, no, it's fantastic. Uh, All right, so now we are coming at the tail end, and I have one traditional question that I want to ask Priya. Is that, Priya, I know you believe in storytelling, but just for the audience sake, could you tell why stories are important for anybody?
Yeah, yeah, of course. Stories. My first, input here is stories stick, just stick to your mind. And of course, Amit, you know very well. There are many, enzymes and hormones that are released when people hear story, right? And that's how there are some scientific reasons behind it, and that helps us to remember things better. It creates that empathy that we are talking about, right, with the storyteller. When you create that empathy or the connection with the storyteller, you start trusting that person, and obviously a leader who is trusted will always achieve what he is looking for. And I think that's why storytelling is so important, because it affects our brain very highly affects our brain with dopamine, oxytocin, and all other what your dose that you spoke about in your workshop, right? DOSE. And I think that's the reason why stories are so important. I have been to so many town halls, so many conferences, and when I ask people what are the three takeaways from this, meeting or town hall, people are hardly able to, recall one or two, maybe. Okay, so I think when leaders are passing on some messages, they can, if they can narrate it in a form of a story, that will help the followers or the foot soldiers to understand uh, why it is. And also the stories, if they can tell that, what is in it for me. I have a big vision in the organization, but does how does it affect me? If the stories are narrated that way, I think yes, people will remember this. They will be charged. They will be inspired to work towards that goal.
Absolutely, absolutely true. And if everyone watches this video again, at my end statement, again the umbrella story, right? Because whenever you now listen to the umbrella story, you can always tie it back to the purpose, right? And that will always, if you just use purpose, the word is so much
Yeah,
abused, I would say, that we don't know what's exactly going on. But the moment you tie it back to the umbrella story, and even if you see an umbrella or holding it, you will remember the entire story with all the emotions in it, with all the flavors that Priya added. And the bottom line is that you will understand the message that the umbrella story is sharing it. That's the power of stories. Fantastic, Priya. It's a pleasure. It is a great pleasure. And I have one comment. This StreamYard doesn't let share all the comments everywhere. I have
okay.
one comment that I would like to share here. Narration of story is good point, said by Ajay Prajapati. All right. So there are many comments that unfortunately, I learned that StreamYard doesn't let all the platforms to share their comments. So
Okay.
that's not good. Anyway, so thank you very much. Thank you, Priya, once again for honoring my show with your time and with the lovely story. And Thank you to all the viewers who have been watching live and who will be watching the recorded session. That was Priya Patra, a known person in the project management, I'll always say that, and agile industry. And do connect with her. There are all the details. Her uh, the LinkedIn profile is mentioned. Her blog is mentioned as well. And you can, of course, ping her and get further information if you want to. Okay. And
Yeah.
there's one more comment. Wonderful session, Amit. Oh, thank you. Thank you,
And
Sujata and Priya. Thanks, Sujata.
yeah.
Uh,
Thank you, Sujata.
and for all the others, if you want to share your impactful story and be a part of my mission to impact a million lives with storytelling, please connect with me, and we'll see how we can get you on live. All right. Till then, once again, thank you, Priya, and have a wonderful day ahead.
Thank you, Amit, and thanks everyone for watching and hearing my umbrella story.
Absolutely. Thank you. Take
Thank
care.
you. Bye bye.